Welcome to Food Safety 5, twice monthly reports from the Food Safety Magazine editorial desk to keep you abreast of top news stories and current events impacting the food safety sector. This episode examines the question, is there such thing as too safe when it comes to food safety? This examination is based on new academic publications exploring the limitations of a zero-risk approach to food safety and evaluating the limited benefits and substantial trade-offs associated with intensified microbiological sampling. First, in a new peer-reviewed article, a global team of researchers assert that the long-standing goal of achieving zero risk in food safety is neither feasible nor desirable and may lead to unintended consequences. The authors explain that all foods carry some level of inherent risk, and that efforts to eliminate risk may result in diminishing public health returns while sacrificing sustainability. They note that overly stringent controls can lead to excessive use of resources for testing and interventions, as well as increased product rejection and unnecessary disposal of food. The researchers also highlight the potential sustainability impacts of zero risk, for example, pointing to increased food waste due to low-level microbial contamination, higher energy consumption associated with stringent cold chain requirements, and ecological impacts from interventions like wildlife exclusion or water-intensive sanitation practices. The authors advocate instead for risk-based food safety decision-making that considers the likelihood and severity of illness based on exposure, rather than hazard-based decision-making such as those that treat any detection of a pathogen as a trigger for action. They're also calling for integrated frameworks that evaluate both risks and benefits within the same assessment, rather than treating them separately. The authors point to existing approaches such as combining risk assessments with life cycle assessments to better capture environmental and public health impacts. Overall, the researchers emphasize that food safety must be evaluated within a One Health context, which recognizes the interconnected nature of human, animal, and environmental health. Another recent study supports the movement away from zero-risk food safety using a quantitative microbiological risk assessment, or QMRA, to evaluate the impact of intensified microbiological sampling on food safety performance. The study finds that microbiological sampling may result in only modest decreases in foodborne illness while increasing financial costs and food waste. The farm-to-fork QMRA integrates exposure assessment, dose-response relationships, and a sampling algorithm to estimate illness risk under different testing intensities. It also quantifies economic outcomes and environmental impacts, enabling a unified comparison of sampling strategies across multiple dimensions. Applying the model to a chicken patty production scenario, the results show that increased sampling stringency within a feasible range leads to less than 1% reduction in the probability of foodborne illness. Although larger sample sizes infer a greater reduction in risk, it is still very low at less than 5%. Intensified sampling also drives higher operational costs and rates of food waste. However, sampling is found to provide greater benefit in systems with higher contamination prevalence, where the detection of unsafe batches is more likely. The researchers suggest that, as processing environments have improved and baseline contamination levels have declined, the effectiveness of end-product sampling as a primary risk control measure has diminished. They conclude that microbiological sampling may be more appropriately positioned as a verification tool within risk-based food safety management systems rather than a primary intervention. Additionally, their QMRA might be able to meaningfully contribute to multi-criteria evaluations of food safety interventions within a One Health context. Taken together, these academic publications highlight the need for food safety systems to balance risk reduction with cost and sustainability factors, along with the importance of aligning interventions with measurable public health outcomes rather than pursuing zero risk. For more information on these stories, visit the links in the description to read the full news coverage. Check back twice monthly on Tuesdays for the latest Food Safety 5 episodes, available at food-safety.com or on our YouTube channel.